Hey guys, welcome to Watch with Poppy. Today we're going to be talking about last night's episode of Scandal. And you guys, there was so much that let's just get right to it. So, the shocker for me, you guys, and you guys know that I try to stay away from spoilers. So I was shocked. The shocker for me was Steven, and it was awesome. Now, I must say, I kept thinking the whole time, like, when they finally do kind of sell Olivia Pope off to somebody, I had this feeling like, wouldn't it be cool if they sold her to somebody that she actually knows? Like, if somebody came to rescue her that way. So I kind of guessed that part, but I didn't even have Steven, like, anywhere in my mind. So when they flipped the camera around and she said, "Hi, Steven," I seriously screamed. It was pretty awesome. It was so good to see him, you guys, and there was a part of me that was hoping that that meant that he was going to be coming to join the cast, that we were going to be seeing more of him because, you know, like Olivia even said to him, like, "Come back with me, like, we need you," which is so true. But he declined, and I was really kind of bummed by that. So it was cool to kind of see him for the moment, and I've got my fingers crossed that maybe we'll be kind of seeing him again. I love that moment, too, when she finally gets rescued because, you know, that point where she grabbed the gun from him and she shot that dude in the leg, I was like, that was another point where I screamed because I was like, kick his ass, girl. I was ready for that. I mean, she just went at it, and I just was like, you go, Olivia. We get that she's obviously majorly traumatized by what's happened to her, and I think we're going to be seeing some of that kind of like PTSD type syndrome stuff from her in the coming episodes. We saw a little bit of that at the end of this episode when she was getting debriefed and she just kind of zones out and her hands start shaking. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they really kind of play that out down the line. So let's talk about Fitz and let's talk about Cyrus, right? Because we get that Fitz is in love with Olivia. I mean, we get that he is in love with her to a level that is beyond, right? That he would do anything for her. I mean, the man went to war for her. So, I mean, we get that. We get that nothing is gonna stop him. I thought it was so funny when they were in the Situation Room and there was this moment where the CIA director is laying it all out. Like, basically, like, we need to take her out. She knows too much. If they manage to get her to talk, you know, we're in trouble. The look on her face, and everybody else in the room, really, when Fitz is like, okay, so let's go with the extraction plan and good job, everyone. And then he goes to leave and they're all standing there like with their mouths hanging open. It was pretty hilarious to me, right? Fitz is so kind of obsessed and really kind of tunnel focused on getting Olivia back that the collateral damage, like, he's just not really seeing that at all. But Cyrus does see it. And that's really part of Cyrus's job, you know, to like make sure the president has all the information he needs so that he can make good choices and to really kind of be that person that will stand up to him and be like, what are you doing? I found it really interesting though that Cyrus chose to go the back route. He chose to kind of hatch his own secret mission with the CIA director to take out Olivia because he knows that Fitz, like, he won't hear it. Like, he knows that. So yeah, Cyrus gets that the right thing to do is to actually have the CIA kill Olivia because no one American's life is worth the lives of all of the other Americans that are going to die if she stays alive and gives up the goods. It makes you realize like how tough Cyrus's job really is. You know, like even compared to the presidency, like Cyrus's some of the choices Cyrus has to make are pretty crappy. And even Fitz's choice, you guys, I mean, it's a pretty crappy choice. Okay, so I want to talk about the scene between Olitz at the end of the episode. But before we get to that, let's talk about a few other little things. Let's talk about Papa Pope, right? So he's out fishing somewhere. And it's Mama Pope who actually gives up where he's at. She tells Jake, kind of as like a last-ditch effort, like, go see Olivia's father. And Papa Pope does his thing, you guys. You know, he's out there fishing, but that man always has time for a good monologue. And so that's what he does. He monologues about fishing and human behavior and how predictable it is and blah, blah, blah. And halfway through his little speech, I just thought, like, if I was Jake, I just would have been like, okay, never mind, I'm out. But obviously, this was for Olivia's life, so Jake stays and tries to really kind of appeal to him. But Papa Pope is really done. Like, he was really serious and he pretty much lets Jake leave and tells Jake in the end, like, I don't have a daughter. Like, you're on your own, basically. So yeah, I guess he is a man of his word, no matter how stupid that word is. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is Huck. I absolutely love the scene between him and Jake, right? Where Jake comes into the room and kind of tells him, like, look, all of the things that you've been through, I have been through them too. They did the same things to me. They put me in the hole. I killed people. And he even talked about, you know, liking that, liking the feel of blood on his hands. And even even liking the sound of like breaking people's bones. But then he talked about the fact that, you know, that person, that Jake that's inside of him that likes those things, he locks that Jake up behind a door basically. And he does not let that Jake out to play. And he tells Huck like, look, you need to get there too, because if you don't and you keep letting that Huck out to play, eventually he's gonna take over and he's gonna lock you in the room and you're not gonna be able to get out. And we get that Huck is pretty close to that. You know, obviously he's freaking out a bit because Olivia is the thing that helps him, you know, and he even says to Jake, like, Olivia is the one who keeps that Huck locked away. And Jake tells him, like, you need to figure out how to do it for yourself. That to me was like a huge turning point for him. And I really hope that we're going to start to see him break away a little bit and really kind of gain some of that power for himself. Speaking of Huck and Olivia too, you guys, it was so sweet that moment when she's back in her apartment and he's gonna leave and he just grabs her and hugs her, because we get that Huck doesn't do that. But we get, you know, how much Olivia really does mean to him and has meant for his sanity. So yeah, I'm hoping that we're going to start to see Huck kind of stand on his own 2 feet. So I am ready for that. I'm ready for the non-crazy Huck to return. Or maybe I should say the less crazy Huck. Now, speaking of Huck, we also got to see the VP get his due, right? You know, Andrew was just kind of like, look, people, I'm not going anywhere. I will tell people what you did if you tell people what I did. And he's telling Melly he's going to tell everybody that he slept with her and all this other stuff. And he's an idiot, really, if you think about it, because all of this started with him wanting power. Melly really read him in this episode. In that scene when they were together, I thought that was really interesting. She really kind of like laid it all out. Like, this is who you are. Like, I can see you. Like, you are the guy who always comes in second. And this was your bid for power. And it didn't work. And this is it for you, baby. You ain't going anywhere else. In the end, though, Elizabeth North ends up coming to Huck, who we get is a little bit of a changed man because he decides not to kill him, but he gives him some drug that like makes him have a stroke or something like that. So the VP is just somewhere in a hospital somewhere trying to recover. So I'm guessing we're gonna have a new VP soon. So I'm kind of excited about that. Okay. Let us finally talk about Olitz. Let's talk about the scene at the end of the episode when Olivia gets home and then there's a knock at her door and it's Fitz. I think, you know, my expectations for what that scene would be, I don't think I'd really thought about it. I just thought like, oh, it'll probably be good. You know, they'll probably have this like romantic reunion and la la la. But it wasn't, and it was pretty deep, you guys. I thought it was really interesting, right? Because Olivia is pretty much pissed. She's really angry at Fitz for doing what he did. The thing that I think about the two of them is that they love each other, but I think if the tables had been reversed, would Olivia have made the same choices? And there's a part of me that doesn't think she would have. She was really angry with him for going to war for her, you know, and just pretty much telling him like, look, you sent thousands of people off to die for one person. Like, you can't do that. And Fitz is doing his whole like, look, I went to war for you, blah, blah, blah. But we get that Olivia is not really all that impressed by that. She's more so sickened by it. There was one point too where he says to her, like, I had to do whatever I could to save you. And, you know, she yells at him like, you didn't save me. Like, I'm on my own. It was one of those scenes, I think, where I kind of felt for them on both sides. Like, I got why Olivia was so upset, but I also get what Fitz did and why he made the choices he did. You know, there was that scene when Cyrus was talking to the director of the CIA and he says to her, like, this is his heart. Basically, he's not going to make any other choice. We need to make the choice for him. And I think that's true about Fitz, and that has always been true about Fitz. So we get that Fitz was always going to make that choice. It was an interesting little argument because there were some other things thrown in. You know, he mentioned to her, like, you always turn away. I was going to give everything up for you. And then she, you know, fires back with, like, if you give everything up, then what about all of the stuff I did to get you where you're at? You know, all of the things I did and everybody else did to make you president, all of that would be worthless. The two of them, I mean, it's just round and around and around, isn't it? There was definitely a sense of finality here, though, I must say. And I don't mean that I think that Olitz is done, because people, this is Scandal. As long as Scandal is on, Olitz is never going to be done. But there was a moment at the end where she has her ring back and she throws her ring at him in a way that's just kind of like, I'm done, right? And then goes to the door and escorts him out. And then I thought it was hugely symbolic, right? About a lot of things, that we see her locking all these locks, but we see her kind of like metaphorically locking away the world, like locking away everyone. We get that she's probably getting ready to go into a place where she's really gonna come inward, you know, out of fear, out of whatever, out of being scarred by what's happened to her, really. So yeah, she kind of locks him out as he leaves, which, you know, hello, symbolism. But then I think she's really kind of locking everything out. So I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. The other thing, too, was that, I mean, the last shot of the episode, and we don't waste time on TV, people. So if they show us something, it means something. So yeah, the last shot of this episode was a close-up on the ring on the floor, you know, because he doesn't pick it up. After she throws it at him, he leaves it there and walks out. But it's like, hey, this ring is a symbol of this love between the two of them, and she's kind of tossed it away and it's just laying there on the floor. So yeah, I don't know, you guys. I wasn't sure, like, are they trying to warn us that it's going to be a little while before we have some Olitz time? Or is something else coming? I don't know. It was a really good episode, you guys. This whole storyline that they've been doing since they came back from the break, the whole Olivia gets taken thing, was really, really good. And I think there's going to be some fallout from that. The preview for next week looks, I mean, straight out of the headlines. Hands up, don't shoot. So I can't wait to see that. I'm really excited to see how Shonda Rhimes does that. That is it for me this week, you guys. I can't wait to hear what you guys thought about this episode. Do not forget to tell me about that down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.